Now, I'm careful to say correction and not punishment here for two reasons. One, most of the time when a submissive refers to a punishment, it's still a punishment. And two, true punishment that hits your submissive's pain point should be the final resort, in my opinion. Next, let's move on to how to modify behavior. Now, keep in mind that consensual behavior modification in DS dynamics is just like anything else we do in BDSM and should be done mindfully, respectfully, and with healthy boundaries. Suppose the submissive expresses feelings of violation or control at any point and calls their safe word or otherwise retracts their consent. In that case, that needs to be honored and a renegotiation will likely be required. These 3 points are to serve as instruction before that limit is reached, okay? So to establish healthy behavior modification as a point of submissive training within your dynamic, you first need to set the standard. What behaviors or attitudes bring you peace and joy? What behaviors or attitudes ignite anxiety and stress? What will you absolutely not tolerate in your dynamic? What are your personal boundaries as the dominant? These are all factors to consider when setting the standard for your submissive. And once your submissive is clear on the standard of behavior required to be in your presence, and you teach them anything they need clarity on, you want to reinforce successful adherence with reward. Now, this can be anything from verbal praise, more physical affection, a great scene that you know your submissive will enjoy, or just a simple treat that they find tasty. If a mistake is made, a mindless error occurs, or your submissive outright refuses to obey, it's time to redirect with correction. Now, I'm careful to say correction and not punishment here for two reasons. One, most of the time when a submissive refers to a punishment, it's still a punishment. And two, true punishment that hits your submissive's pain point should be the final resort, in my opinion. Because to me, the goal is to have a submissive humble enough not to require punishment because they adapt so well to correction. The thing is, correction is still painful, all right? Point out the error, restate the standard, share your disappointment, and give your submissive the opportunity to make it right and adjust their behavior. For instance, one of the standards I've set with my dog Jamie is that he's not allowed to get on the ottoman while humans eat on the couch. Now, occasionally, he gets so excited about whatever we're having that he jumps on the ottoman to smell the food. Now, I instantly sharpen my voice, correct him, and tell him to get down. Once he obeys, I offer verbal praise to reinforce the obedience, but I don't offer a treat, all right? I don't reward. I praise the obedience, but I do not reinforce with reward the disobedience. But neither do I punish him by crating him, taking his favorite toys away, none of that. So I want his obedience. That's the goal. So even if he missed the mark a little bit, I praise him when he corrects his behavior. And the same strategy can absolutely be employed in your dynamic as well. And our last point today is how to incentivize obedience. And as we discussed over the last 2 weeks, the objective here is to associate obedience with satisfaction. In other words, the submissive must understand that good behavior benefits them far more than entitled demands. When it comes to my dog Jamie, he knows that what he doesn't beg for, he receives as reward. For instance, I have another boundary around mealtime that Jamie is not allowed to ask for food, he's not allowed to whine or beg or otherwise disrupt my meal. He can sit there, he can stare, he can crave, but he's not allowed to make a demand. And I've incentivized him to do so by treating him when he's well behaved. Again, what he doesn't beg for, he will receive as a reward. If he begs for a bite of my food while I'm eating, he gets scolded and receives nothing. But if he sits quietly and waits patiently for me to finish my meal, I'll reward him with praise and the treat that he craves. Apply the same principle in your dynamics, dominance. Your submissive whines, demands, and begs for play, they get nothing. Your submissive humbly requests play and patiently waits for you to initiate and engage on your timeline. A killer scene with their favorite play is an apt treat, is the reward for their good behavior and the way to incentivize ongoing obedience. In addition, it's important to praise and encourage your submissive and their obedience consistently. When they please you, praise the shit out of them. When you see their efforts to obey, encourage them, all right? This is part of the emotional experience of satisfaction that needs to be incentivized. And finally, show your pleasure and gratitude, dominance. Because here's the thing. I believe one of the tenets of authentic submission is the desire to please your dominant. And if that's the case, a submissive seeing and experiencing their dominant's pleasure is a high value reward. Think about it. If you spend all this time and money and energy picking out a gift, wrapping the gift, and presenting that gift to a friend, how would you want them to respond? Oh, thanks. Or, oh my gosh, this is awesome. Thank you so much. Of course, you don't give the gift expecting a reaction in return, but as the gift giver, there is joy to be found in knowing the receiver enjoys your gift. So it's okay to show your pleasure, dominance. It's okay to laugh. It's okay to smile. It's okay to express gratitude to your submissive, or just randomly tackle them with love and affection if you're feeling overwhelmed with positive emotion. These will all create that feeling of emotional satisfaction that we want to associate with obedience. And to help you take your submissive training to a whole new level, check out my new submissive training bundle on Patreon. This resource contains 8 exclusive downloads, including 3 brand new guides: a dominance guide to deepen devotion, a dominance guide to tackling trauma triggers, and 8 dog training techniques for effective behavior modification. Just go over to patreon.com/LXerotica to get instant access. And be sure you're subscribed and have those notifications turned on, because next week we're finishing up this series with 3 more step-by-step guides to help you dominants navigate the most common challenges you'll face in your DS dynamics.